And joining us now to discuss the recent developments between the United States and Israel is Ari Harrow, former Chief of Staff to Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. Ari, thanks for joining us today.
Good to see you, Lida.
So there's still a lot of concern in Israel over President Trump's recent actions and his intentions during this upcoming Middle East trip. Should Israel still be concerned?
I think that there's three things that we have to keep in mind. Number one is that President Trump has a long history of being a close ally and a supporter of the State of Israel. That hasn't changed, and I don't think that is going to change. Number two is that there is, I guess, two camps within the Trump administration as far as foreign policy is concerned. And we're hearing different voices from different people, but ultimately it is the president that's going to dictate the path that they take. Third is that Trump is definitely unpredictable when it comes to policy in general. But one thing that is very clear, and you see it in his dealings, not only in our region, but throughout the world, is that he is a deal maker. He makes that very clear. And I think that the approach that we're seeing to some of the challenges that we face in the region are very calculated and are part of a strategy that he has implemented throughout his professional life.
Now, we heard a lot of reassurances from Ambassador Huckabee over the weekend. He dismissed much of the noise and the rumors, let's say, that have been circulating. So what do you make of these? I mean, even the fact that he needed to do these round of interviews to ease tensions.
I think that there was maybe an unrealistic expectation by some in the Israeli political establishment and amongst the Israeli constituency that President Trump and his administration would be lock in step with Israel on every matter and on every statement. Unfortunately, or fortunately, that is not the case. And like I said, I mean, it was really an unrealistic expectation. I think that the United States does have its own interest, but so does Israel. And as long as we can convey that to each other, not over television channels and the news tickers, but rather in person and behind closed doors, I think that both countries will be the better.
And the fourth round of nuclear talks taking place today in Oman. You know, the issue of uranium enrichment is taking center stage, with the U.S. saying Iran is in no position to say no to any deal. How likely is it that we will see real progress, and how much longer will the Trump administration let these talks drag out before it says enough is enough?
Well, I think that the Iran negotiation is actually a great example of your previous question as to where is the Trump administration heading. If you recall, some of the earlier comments that Envoy Witkoff made and others in the administration had many people in Israel shaking their head and wondering where exactly this is going. But yet, as the negotiations have progressed, the supposed American stance has hardened. And obviously, from Israel's perspective, that's a very welcome development. I think that it's clear to the United States, it's clear to Iran that Israel cannot allow Iran to reach nuclear capability. They are extremely close, and a decision is going to have to be made in the very near future. Whether we're talking about weeks or maybe a few months, but not much longer than that before alternative planning and alternative action is going to have to take place.
And now let's talk about President Trump's trip to the region. What's on the agenda, and why is Israel not a stop on this trip?
I think that it's very clear from most of what President Trump has done since entering office is really focused on the economy. He's spoken extensively about tariffs, and even in Prime Minister Netanyahu's last visit to the White House, he's been dealing with Canada, Mexico, Panama. He just signed an agreement with the UK a couple days ago. I think that the focus here is very clear, and it's all about, to use his mantra, America first, and how he puts the American economy back on the fast track. There's no question that behind closed doors, there will be other issues dealt with. He's going to touch on regional security issues. He's going to touch on the Houthis and the war in Gaza and elsewhere. But ultimately, I think that the focal point of his visit is the economy, is the American economy. And once again, I think that us in Israel, we can recognize that not everything always revolves around, our little issue at home.
Absolutely. Ari Harrow, thank you so much for your insights today.
Thank you.